Let me start off with number one. Thank you all for being out here this morning, and I'm standing with Council Member Dwight Borkins, District D. This is his district, and then of course Chief Sam Pena with the Fire Department, Executive Chief Slinkard, and Executive Chief Fenner, and then all of these other fine police officers for HPD. Look, my heart goes out to this particular family, to the mother and to her two kids. The kids two kids that were injured. There were three in total in the car, but certainly to Tristan Hutchins, the 8-year-old boy who is in the hospital in critical condition still, and then to the 5-year-old Christian Hutchins as well, who was in the car and who was injured. The shooting happened in the 3900 block of Scott Street, which is pretty much across the street. And basically, what I want to say this morning is that somebody knows the shooter or shooters that took place yesterday that injured these kids. Somebody know them, and I am asking whoever knows or has information to provide that information to us, to HPD, so that we can get these shooters or criminals off of our streets. Let me just say that in this city, we do not condone any person who victimize, shoot, and or kill our kids. And we're not going to start. This is not the new normal. This will not be the new normal in this city. And we are not going to provide a safe haven, and we should not provide safe haven. And so for those individuals who if you have any information in reference to any of these shooters, you need to provide that information, and you need to do it now. We are not going to live in a city where it's unsafe for kids to play outside of their apartments or outside of their homes. We're not going to live in a city where it's unsafe for people to walk up and down the sidewalks, or to go to the park, or to go to the grocery store, or in this case, to go to the nail salon, and then run the risk of your children or yourselves being shot. We're not going to live in that type of city. Now, after Harvey, this city came together like never before. We were united. We helped out one another. Neighbors helped out one another. Good Samaritans stepped up. And you saw what happened and how the city has rebounded, okay? Now, the same sort of spirit need to take place in our city, where people come together, neighbors helping neighbors, Good Samaritans. You don't have to know somebody, but if you know something, we need to step up. I've said to HPD, I want you, not only on this case, but any of these cases involving shootings, I want you to don't leave any stone left unturned. We're going to put forth as much resources as we can to get these individuals off the street. But the parties that can help the most are the people who live in our communities, live in these homes, or in communities or in neighborhoods where you know who the shooters are. HPD cannot do it alone, okay? HPD cannot do it alone. If you know something, if you have any information on who these shooters are, and I want to remind you, these are individuals who had no problem shooting our kids. And they are our kids. It's not those kids. These are our children. And if you have any information of any shooter that would go out and victimize, hurt, injure, with the intent of killing our children, you cannot condone it. You cannot create a safe haven for them. You cannot be afraid to speak up, okay? This is not where the code of silence applies. The code of silence does not apply here. And so if you have information, you must say something. If you have any information on anyone who intends to go out and victimize and shoot, okay? Any information of somebody that you know is about to do something that's wrong, you have an obligation to report it and to let somebody know. So in this city, we draw a red line, okay? We draw a red line. And this city doesn't belong to the criminal element. It belongs to us. And we're not turning this city over. And so I'm asking, if you have information, you have an obligation, you have a responsibility. And not to me, not to HPD. You have a responsibility to our children. Because I want people to bear in mind, what if it was your kid or your family member, okay? I'm here standing with Reverend Cosby, who's the pastor of Wheeler Avenue Baptist Church. I appreciate Reverend Cosby. I appreciate him. And I don't want to have to write another tweet that talks about, we extend to you, Pastor, our prayers and condolences, okay? Now, I want to be able to do that tweet, but I also want to add that we are taking the people off the street who dare to victimize our children. And we're going to stand and we're going to fight for our children. This is not the new normal in the city of Houston. It's not, okay? So let me stop and let me bring up Executive Chief Slinkard.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you for your support, Mayor, Council Member, Reverend, our Fire Chief, Sam Pena, who's here. First, let me say that myself and Chief Finner have briefed Chief Acevedo completely on this incident. He's on his way back in town right now from being out of town on city business, and so he is fully briefed and up to date on what's going on in our investigation and as we move forward. Let me begin by echoing something the Mayor said. The Mayor talked about a red line, and we will not stand for this. We are better than this. Our community is better than this. And the Mayor talked about not crossing that red line. Well, let me tell you about another line. There's a blue line, and there's a blue line of 5,100 men and women who are today motivated beyond belief to find and bring to justice those who would prey upon our most innocent and our children. And that blue line of 5,100, we will leave no stone unturned. We will be coming for those who are responsible for injuring our children and the children of this community. Let me give you just a few details regarding two incidents, this one yesterday and then one that was preceding that. Yesterday afternoon, a man was shot and killed in the 2600 block of Napoleon. That victim was identified as Marcus Falk, 24 years old. We have several leads on that case that we are pursuing. Some of you had asked yesterday, do we have any definitive information that that shooting yesterday afternoon was potentially related to this one? We are investigating all leads, but we cannot say definitively at this point that that shooting earlier in the afternoon where that 24-year-old man died is necessarily related to this one. Then yesterday evening, as you heard from the briefing from Chief Finner last night on the scene, another shooting occurred in this 3900 block of Scott, where, as the Mayor has indicated, 2 children were shot while 3 children were sitting in that vehicle while the mother was inside of the business. Now, right now, that 8-year-old is still in critical condition, and the 5-year-old being treated as well for those injuries. The 8-year-old shot in the head and the 5-year-old shot in the leg. Now, our leads right now indicate that we are looking at a light-colored vehicle that at some time pulled up next to that car that was parked next door. We are canvassing all businesses that we have been all night, looking for all video that might be available in this area. Now, I will not jeopardize any of the investigative leads that we have garnered in the last 12 hours to help us solve this case by giving you details today that could potentially affect that. But let me just tell you today, we do have numerous leads in this investigation. We do have numerous people that we are interested in speaking with regarding this shooting, and we will be making sure that we do that diligently until we bring this case to closure. I will tell you that we believe there was more than one shooter in this incident. We do believe there was more than one shooter and there was more than one firearm used in this incident. We would ask that the community continue to pray for these children, and rest assured the Houston police officers will be working round the clock as we investigate this, and we are fully confident that we will be able, with the community's help, but only with your help, that we will be able to bring those responsible to justice for this heinous act. And this is not the new norm, like the mayor said. This city, this community, our communities, our parents, we are better than this. And I implore all parents out there especially, imagine your children being the victim of something like this. Come forward if you have information. If you're worried about coming forward and contacting the Houston Police Department, then I implore you to please contact Crime Stoppers at 713-222-TIPS. That is 100% completely anonymous and up to a $5,000 reward for information that will help us in this case. Please, if you are reluctant to even reach out to HPD, reach out to Crime Stoppers. We need to get this case solved, and we need to get this case solved quickly. With that, I'll turn it back over to the mayor, and then we'll address any questions that you have. Please, again, keep in mind, I know you have a lot of specific questions regarding evidence, regarding the investigation, but we are laser focused on making sure that we do not compromise any of those early investigative leads that we have, and we want to use our investigative abilities to our fullest extent to try to bring people to justice on this. So we will not go into great detail on evidence or anything like that today at this conference. Mayor.
Thank you. And again, I'm going to call on Councilmember Dwight Borkin, since we're also in his district. But I do want to emphasize, and bear in mind, these shooters are shooters. I mean, they shot our children, okay? They shot our children. And so to the extent you have information, you got to give them up. I don't care if you're the mother, the father, the sister, the brother, you have to give them up, okay? They shot our children. And you cannot give them a safe haven. This is not about a safe code. This is not about being silent, okay? You got to give them up, because this is not going to be the new normal in the city. Can't protect them. Councilmember Dwight Borkin. Okay. Pastor, you want to say something? We on your, come on. You sure?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and to all who are assembled. We're grateful that we have the opportunity to partner with our city as the incident occurred just across the street from Wheeler Avenue Baptist Church. So with all that we have, we will be consistently committed to doing all that we can to help our city and to help this family to recover during this time. We are committed to ensuring that there will be a peaceful community in 3rd Ward, Houston, Texas. And so with everything we have, Mr. Mayor, we pledge our assistance and our allegiance to you and to this city to ensure that the church that has been here for these 56 years will help you to help this city recover. Thank you, sir.
And we are going to get them, okay? We are going to find them. But your help can help us to find them even quicker. But we are going to get them off this street.